Don't tell me you had a straight flush draw. Don't tell me. What's up, YouTube? Kato here, and today we're playing some cards. Without further ado, let's get in and hit the felt. Welcome back to the vlog, everyone. If you're new to poker or you've been playing for years, this is a great place for us all to grow together. The first hand I look at is Ace Jack of Clubs. I have my $200 buy-in and I'm sitting in the cutoff. This is a special hand because it is a splash pot, meaning the casino has put $50 in the middle of the pot for anyone to win. It limps around, everyone is in, and when it gets to me, I decide to bet $15 in the cutoff, which is an extremely small bet. Looking back, I definitely should have sized up more. The button makes the call and the small blind raises to $75. Now, with only $125 behind me if I call, this should definitely be an all-in or fold situation, but I obviously am playing scared and playing stupid, so I just make the flat call. The button folds away and we're going heads up to the flop with $233 already in the pot, and once again, I'm sitting behind with only a half pot size bet. I should have jammed here in order to see all 5 cards to get a complete run out, but I don't do that, and so the dealer puts out the Queen of Spades, 8 of Diamonds, and 8 of Hearts. This is not the flop I want to see, and when my opponent jams all in, I'm forced to make the fold. Right off the bat, my stack is significantly wounded, but I catch a break when I'm dealt the Ace of Hearts and the Ace of Clubs, pocket aces, the most beautiful pre-flop starting hand you can have. I'm sitting in the big blind and the middle position player opens to $13 and the button makes the call, bringing the pot to $30. I'm going to go ahead and size up and raise this pot. I'm absolutely raising basically every time with pocket aces, and I raise to $40. The button calls and the middle position player folds it away. We're going heads up to the flop with $94 in the pot. My hand can really only improve with an ace, and that's exactly what happens when the dealer puts out the Ace of Diamonds, 8 of Clubs, 5 of Hearts. Now, the problem with having an ace on the flop is I have 2 of them, and it's very unlikely that my opponent has one. It's a very scary card for sure. Luckily, my opponent isn't scared by this card at all. He rips his stack all in, and I make the call instantly for $85. He tells me he has ace-king, and I show him the bad news. I have pocket aces, the runout's clean, and I scoop a big pot, bringing my stack to $264. I fold away a few more hands until I pick up 8, 7 of Clubs in middle position. I am opening the action to $13, and I get a call in the small blind and the big blind. The pot's $39. I have position on both players, and we're going to a flop. The dealer puts out the 5 of Clubs, 5 of Diamonds, and the 8 of Diamonds. This is a pretty good flop for me, seeing as I have top pair. There are, however, a lot of draws, and being in the big blind and small blind, my opponents could have some 5s or some 8s that beat me. The small blind decides to bet out to $20, and the big blind folds. It's up to me, and I could raise here, but I'm holding a marginally made hand, and so I think the best line is just to make the call and evaluate on the turn. The turn is the 5 of Spades, giving me a full house, and I'm much less worried about my opponent having a 5. We could be chopping this pot up, or he could have a pocket pair slightly above or slightly below the 8s. Regardless, he decides to continue betting, telling a story, betting $25 into the pot. I decided to take a unique line here, see where I'm at, maybe put some pressure on him, scare him to think that I have the 5, or find out very quickly if he has the 5, and I am min raise to $50. I'm not sure if this makes any sense, but it's kind of like a value bet, a blocker bet, a bluff, all these things kind of wrapped into one. Calling just seemed too weak here, and like it gave up too much initiative. The opponent decides to make the call. The river comes the Jack of Spades, and my opponent checks to me. I think I could probably bet one more time here for value, targeting any pocket pair below 8s, but other than that, I'm not really targeting much, and so I decide to check behind. I show him my hand, and it is good. We are scooping a nice little pot.
Poker beast in the house. Okay, guys, you're making me blush.
I'm sitting with $347 behind me. I fold around a few more junk hands until I look down once again at the beautiful pocket aces. This hand does not get very far. I pick it up on the flop, and we're scooping just a little pot, folding away a few more hands until we pick up 5-4 spades in the small blind. A middle position player limps, and the hijack bets $12. It folds around to me, and I make the call in the small blind. The big blind also makes the call, and the middle position player folds away. We're going 3 ways to a flop with $39 in the pot. The flop comes the 5 of Diamonds, Queen of Spades, and King of Spades. I picked up a very weak flush draw and a very weak pair. My first mistake was calling with this marginal hand in the small blind pre-flop, and I make a few more of this hand. It checks around to the original raiser in the hijack, who bets $25. I make the call, and the big blind makes the call. We're now headed to a turn with $114 in the pot. The turn comes the 9 of diamonds, and once again, I check, and so does the big blind. The hijack decides to check this time as well. So we're going to the river, and the river is the 8 of clubs. Now, I've sensed some weakness here. Maybe my opponent has a queen, but I think that I can bet $75, bringing the pot to $189 and push these players off the hand. Unfortunately, the big blind instantly makes the call. That is not a good sign, and when he shows his hand, he shows pocket queens for the flop set. If I had just been a little more disciplined pre-flop, I wouldn't have given away $100. The next hand I look at is pocket fives under the gun with $275 in my stack. There's 2 limpers ahead of the button. The button sizes up and bets $16. I make the call, and the middle position player also makes the call. We're headed 3 ways to a flop with $52 in the pot. I'm set mine in here, out of position, looking for a 5 on the flop, but that doesn't come when the dealer puts out the queen of diamonds, 9 of hearts, 2 of spades. It checks all the way around, and so we are going to see a free turn, which is the 10 of spades. We check around to the original pre-flop raiser, and this time he decides to bet $15. With a player behind me and basically nothing, I should just fold this hand away, but I don't. I make the bad call, and the middle position player folds. We're going to a river, which is the 7 of diamonds, does not improve us at all, and this time when I check to the button, he sizes up and bets $30. This should be an easy fold again, but I just don't believe him. I think maybe he had a jack on the turn, which is why he bet. And so I make the call, and I get the bad news. Pocket queens for a flop set again. And just like that, I've taken my $387 stack and reduced it to $199. This is why you have to stay completely focused at all times. You can't have 1 or 2 mistakes. It can cost you a lot of money. Fortunately, very soon after I get dealt pocket kings on the button, the cutoff decides to bet $15 opening the action, and I raised to $35. It folds around back to the cutoff, and he makes the call. We're headed to the flop, heads up, with $77 in the pot. I'm praying for no ace on the board, but I don't get my wish. Ace of spades, 6 of diamonds, 8 of diamonds comes on the flop, and I'm just going to go ahead and play it safe, and after my opponent checks to me, I check back. The turn is another ace, the ace of clubs. I'm feeling a little more confident about my hand, but my opponent decides that he wants to take the initiative, and he bets $55. Now, of course, I'm not going to be folding this hand away. I do have pocket kings, and the ace could have signaled to him that I also don't have one. Maybe he's just betting on an ace. Maybe he has pocket queens, pocket jacks. He has the same fear that I do. So I elect to just make the call and reevaluate on the river. I do have position, which turns out to be very powerful in hands in situations like this. The river comes the 6 of clubs, pairing the board again, and my opponent decides to check to me, which is very strange. If he had any ace, I'm sure he would be betting here. I decide to risk it for the biscuit and go for very thin value, targeting maybe a pocket pair lower than my kings or a pair of 8s. I bet $40 into the $187 pot, and my opponent decides to instantly fold. It's definitely a relief. I'm not sure if I should have gone for value on that river, but we're scooping another pot. The next hand I get dealt is Queen of Hearts, Jack of Clubs, and the hijack. I have $296 in my stack, and I decided to limp in. God knows why, but the cutoff also makes the limp. The small blind makes the call. We're going to a flop 3 ways, and the flop is 7 of clubs, Queen of diamonds, 2 of diamonds. I hit my top pair with a decent kicker. There is a flush draw out there, but not much else after that. It's a pretty dry board, and so I'm going to go ahead and bet a pot-sized bet to $12, and the small blind makes the call, bringing the pot to $36. The turn is the 9 of spades, and I again am going to continue betting for value. I bet $22, bringing the pot to $58. The small blind again makes the call, and the river comes the 7 of diamonds, which causes my opponent to take a strange line of betting $25 into me. I found that usually when someone takes the control of the pot at the end like this, and it's not a very big bet, it's a value-driven bet, it seems like it's always something giving them a strong hand that they didn't have before the river. In this case, I'm guessing it's a 7. I don't have the willpower to make the fold, and so I make the call, and it turns out that he turned and rivered me, giving him the full house with 9-7. Very interesting hand that I probably could have avoided if I would have just raised preflop or folded away. Once again, not being aggressive enough is costing me money. This next hand is pretty dumb, but I show them all. So I get dealt the 7 deuce offsuit, the worst hand in poker in the big blind, and there's one limp, and then the middle position player bets $10. The cutoff makes the call, and the small blind makes the call. I decide I'm going to 3-bet here to $60. It makes no sense. It's a very large 3-bet, but I just smell weakness. This is a game where a lot of people will limp call or bet $10 with really marginal holdings. I definitely don't recommend bluffing this part of your range. I mean, this hand should just always be folded. I guess I could say I'm doing it for the vlog, but I'm really not. I'm doing it because I'm being an idiot, and I got very lucky that everyone folded away this time, but it's not always going to happen that way. If you're going to be betting like this and including some bluffs in your pre-flop 3-betting range, they need to be bluffs like Jack 10 suited or 7-6 suited or maybe pocket 7s, but definitely not a crap hand like 7 deuce offsuit. The next hand I get is pocket 8s on the button with $271 in my stack. There's one limper ahead of the middle position player who bets $15, and I make the call. The under the gun player also makes the call. We're going 3 ways to a flop with $49 in the pot. This next flop is a dream come true. With pocket 8s, I'm basically just set mining, hoping to hit a set, but I don't hit one set, I hit 2 in the form of the 8 of spades, 8 of clubs, 6 of clubs, a beautiful flopped quads, and I can't believe how many quads that I've been hitting on this vlog, but I'm not complaining. We all check around. I really wanted to bet, seeing that it was extremely draw heavy, but I decided that it'd probably be best just to check, and the turn comes the 5 of spades. This time the original raiser decides to bet out $25, and I just am going to make the call here again. I probably should raise again, thinking that someone could have a club draw, someone could have a straight draw that might blank out on the river. And when the river is a 7 of hearts, the middle position player bets $40. He's only got about $40 behind him, so I decided to go all in, of course. And he thinks about it no time at all and makes the fold, but he shows the 7-5 of clubs. He flopped an open-ended straight flush draw, and I flopped quads. We had 2 cards to hit the bad beat jackpot, and it's a little frustrating. I'm glad I won the pot, but we definitely all would have loved to split up the $20,000 that was at stake.
It's not that hard to put a club of 9 of clubs up there.
After an up and down day, I decided to cash out and book the win. We just wrapped a session. We are in for $200, out for $406 for $206 total. I'll take it.